Hey, what's going on over there, guys? So I heard a lot of people are getting really kind of concerned about travel contracts being canceled left and right. And this is not a concern for me because I've got some things in place and I do some stuff. So I kind of want to talk to you a little bit about contracts and what you need to know about them and what you need to put in them so that way you can stop your contract from being canceled as well. And then worst case scenario, if your contract does get canceled, I'll at the very least show you what you got to do to get another one really quick. So if you're not already, consider subscribing, turning on that notification bell so you don't miss out on anything, so you can get the highest paying contracts with the best working conditions and all the good things that come along with it. Because travel nursing, it's easy and lucrative. And it's probably the best kind of nursing that there is. Okay, so before we get started in this, I need to make a huge disclaimer. Anytime you add something to your contract, it does decrease the chance of somebody actually hiring you. So make sure you pick what you add carefully, and if it's important enough for you, then have it put in. First thing you need is what's called a canceled shift penalty. Now, it's not a penalty for you. It's a penalty if the facility cancels you too many times. So for instance, if you're at a 36-hour-a-week contract and you say have 12 hours per shift, then the wording in the contract that you want to look out for is going to say something like this. For this contract, the facility is allowed to call off/cancel you X amount of times before guaranteed pay goes into effect. Now that's a really important thing that I just said, so make sure you didn't miss it. Most every contract has this in there. Sometimes this will say the facility is allowed to call off and cancel the nurse 2 times per contract. Sometimes it'll say 2 times per week. Because when you see a travel company advertising guaranteed hours, it usually means guaranteed hours with the exception of the facility canceled shift policy. But the good news is, if you are canceled for low census more than that, then you do get guaranteed pay. So make sure you read that, because if it's way too often that they're giving you for how many times they can cancel you in a contract, then you need to try to get that changed or just don't work at that facility. The next thing we need to talk about that's going to guarantee that you don't get your contract canceled, or at the very least, make sure you don't get it canceled as often as the other travel nurses on your same unit, is what's called a cancellation clause. So cancellation clause, kind of important, I would say. A lot of people don't understand what they are. A lot of travel nurses think that cancellation clauses are something that strictly benefits them, but 9 times out of 10, maybe closer to 99 times out of 100, it's in every contract and it benefits the travel agency and not necessarily the travel nurse. But since you're here watching this video, I'm definitely going to show you how it can benefit you and what you can do to put it into your contract so that way the cancellation clause will have your back. So if you've ever read anything on travel nursing on the internet, you've probably come across a website called Blue Pipes. And actually this idea comes straight from them. So I'm going to share with you how they say that you can use a cancellation clause to your benefit. Check it out. They say when you receive a travel contract, review the cancellation clause, then draw up a clause that mimics the language but applies to you. Now the goal will be to ensure that your out-of-pocket costs are covered if the contract is canceled without clause. So for instance, if you find your own housing and you pay for that, or if you have to up and move everything and go back, well, you're covered. Sometimes cancellation clauses can actually give you a time limit as well that guarantees you get at least a 2-week notice before being canceled, which is super helpful. But lots of times, the way that these facilities can get around a cancellation clause, and you need to know about this as well, is if they cancel you with a cause. And the really weird thing about this is there are facilities out there who really don't seem to have a moral code, and they'll cancel certain travel nurses with a cause when in reality they did nothing wrong. And the reason that they do that is because they're actually saving money, since they don't have to pay the fees for canceling you without a cause. So what can you do to kind of get back on your feet if you're canceled? Well, what you do is you work with multiple agencies and you work with multiple agents. That's going to benefit you the absolute most every single time. You're going to be exposed to more exclusive contracts. And as long as your profile is current, you're going to be able to get to a different contract almost immediately with virtually no loss in work. So you pretty much never have to worry about being canceled. There are lots of nurses out there who don't realize how simple travel nursing can be and how pretty much anybody can be a travel nurse. And if that's you out there, then it's probably just because you haven't seen my video about the different styles of travel nursing, where I actually go through and explain how pretty much anybody can be a travel nurse, and I go through those different styles. That video is up on the screen right now. I'm Travel Nurse Rich. Subscribe. See you next time.